Welcome back. It's just about 10 minutes before 8 o'clock. If you're on the way to work, you should be there by now and listening to us on 87.7 FM. Hosay Cedros proposes to explore the Indian Diaspora's experience after arrival and indentureship in the fishing village of Cedros, with specific reference to the annual Muslim Muharram ritual called Hosay. We're now joined by Director Dion Samsoondar and Professor of Religion and Anthropology, Frank Korom. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to Morning Edition.
Good morning.
So we're going to try to squeeze this in the next couple of minutes. What is Hosay Cedros going to be all about?
Well, like you just said, it's going to be about the Indian diaspora in the Cedros area, which is significantly different from that of St. James. And we are attempting to showcase that experience in the Deep South.
Now, how do you plan to, what is the medium that you're using to showcase that?
We're producing a documentary right now.
Right.
We already acquired footage last year in December of 2011.
Yes.
We're conducting interviews now. We have Dr. Korom, Professor of Religion and Anthropology, and we also interviewing residents of Cedros, and that will form the basis of the documentary that we will release later this year.
So, Professor Korom, in your role in the production of this documentary, you are in fact trying to elicit the views of the residents to try and develop a timeline and an experiential sort of view of life in Cedros?
Actually, I did research here in St. James in the 1990s and wrote a book after that, published in 2003, called Hosay Trinidad, and also made a film in conjunction with the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., also called Hosay Trinidad, which was released in 1998. So Dion read my book and contacted me and was wondering if I would be willing to come down and provide whatever knowledge I have for his project, and also I'll be interviewed for the film.
Great, so you're acting as an advisor / consultant to the production of this documentary?
In some capacity, I would say.
In some capacity. Yes. So this is not new to you, Professor. I mean, you've seen the evolution of these festivals.
That's right.
And you've documented and captured some of the key features.
That's correct.
Of these particular cultural events. When you look at this going forward, do you see a lot more developments or documentaries of this nature being done for other regions of Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, right now the Hosay takes place in just 2 locations, St. James and Cedros. Dr. Korom's film primarily focused on St. James.
Right.
And while the event has been going on in this Cedros area for over 100 years, very little is known about it outside of South Trinidad. And this documentary is an attempt not to put a spotlight on it, but to let the rest of the country know that this event has been there for so long.
And that's great work, because, Dion, how have the residents of Cedros responded, to all of this fanfare about what comes quite naturally to them?
Well, the thing about it is it's always a challenge going into a community and asking them to allow you to film them. Yes. There are always apprehensions about that. But we were welcomed. We were given permission to tape. Mr. Al Ramslock and I did a film in 1997 that captured the best cultural documentary from the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago.
Really?
And the name of that was Spirit of Cedros.
Great.
In that film, what we did was we looked at the Hosay from the outside, looking in as an observer.
Right.
In this new version, we're trying to look at it from the inside, from the Indian indentured laborer's perspective.
Perspective, yes.
After 150 years.
Excellent.
So we're trying to update and take that perspective.
This is excellent work. Professor Korom, why is it important for countries such as ours, multi-ethnic societies, to document these festivals?
Well, it's important to remember that everyone has their own personal history that goes back many generations. And in the case of the Indian diaspora, It's important to maintain that connection with the homeland, which is India. And my primary area of interest is South Asia, the Indian subcontinent, which is where I first witnessed Hosay. And it was that brought me to the Caribbean, specifically to Trinidad, because Trinidad is the only place where Hosay is still being performed according to the lunar calendar and according to all of the prescribed rites. Yes. So it's a very significant connection between India and Trinidad. And that's what fascinated me and brought me here first in the 1990s.
And the connection has remained very strong, hasn't it? It has not been diluted over the years, has it?
There's been some arguments about that over the years, about whether or not the festival has retained its authenticity, but in many ways, as I argued in my book, the commemoration as it's performed here in Trinidad is very close to the way it's performed and observed in India. So there are a lot of continuities, but at the same time, there are innovations that make it distinctly Trinidadian in nature.
And that's great work. Professor, I think Trinidad and Tobago owes you a great debt of gratitude for the kind of work that you've done. Dion, what kind of dates are we looking at in terms of completion of the documentary?
Okay, we are targeting to try and have it showcased at the Trinidad Film Festival later on in the year.
Right.
We've also been invited to a conference in St. Vincent on the 2nd of June of this year. 2nd of June, right. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to have it completed by then.
Right.
And have great expectations and plans for Hosay Cedros.
All right, well listen, I really must congratulate you on this great work that you're doing. And Professor, I must in fact thank you for being such a support in all of this. And I really do hope to see more of this very soon from now.
Sure.
And thank you so much for being here on Morning Edition. And one last thing you want to say?
One last thing?
Yeah.
We're having a screening in Cedros at the community center at 6 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday.
Right.
So that all the residents are invited to come down and have a look so that you can see what we're working on.
And what will eventually be produced as the final cut?
That, yes.
Great. Well, there you have it. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.